Is the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G worth buying? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my review of the Samsung Galaxy A34. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the Galaxy A34 was recently launched by Samsung, and as the name of the phone does imply, it is the successor to last year's Galaxy A33 5G. Now, overall, with the A34 5G, it's more of an evolution rather than a dramatic redesign. But that being said though, Samsung mostly built upon a very solid foundation with the A33. Now I'll be getting into the various things that I really like about this phone all throughout this video, but basically what I especially appreciate here with the A34 5G is that while this phone isn't necessarily the most powerful phone out there, and it's also not the most feature packed, it does deliver really well in the areas that matter the most to most people. For example, we're getting really good cameras here with the phone. We're also getting a large battery, and we're also getting really great software and also a really great display. So if you want to use this phone for watching video content or going on social media, all those things are going to be great on here. Now, to see most up-to-date pricing and availability for the A34 5G, definitely take a look at the various links in the video description, because I'm sure as time goes on, the different promotions and deals and all that are bound to change. Now, before I get too far into things here with the actual phone itself, let's see what all comes included here in the box. So here's the box. You can see right there, A34 5G. There's a photo of the phone itself. It is a slim box, and one reason for that is because there is no USB wall adapter included, which is a bit unfortunate. But we are getting some literature. We're getting a SIM card removal tool. And we're also getting a double-sided USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. Now with this device, we're getting a very large 6.6-inch display. And as I mentioned earlier on in the video, this is one of my favorite things about the phone. This display looks fantastic. It does feature Corning Gorilla Glass 5, making it more durable than your typical smartphone display, especially for a lower-end device. The display itself is Super AMOLED, featuring a 120Hz refresh rate, so a very smooth experience when navigating around the phone, and the display is 1080p, so everything's really crisp and clear, and we're also getting excellent viewing angles too. So overall, with this really nice display, this phone feels a lot more expensive and higher end than it really is. Now also with this display, we're getting a PPI of 390, we're getting a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and we're getting an 84.9% screen to body ratio. So overall, pretty small bezels here. Now, we do unfortunately have a notch up top here, which does house the 13 megapixel front-facing camera. I definitely would have preferred a hole punch instead, but overall, it doesn't really impact the usability of the phone itself. But you'll be seeing a variety of different photo and video samples from all the various cameras on this device later on in this video, but overall, I am really happy with the quality. Now internally, we're getting 128 gigabytes of storage, along with microSD card expansion. Now the first thing is, 128 gigs of storage is a very generous amount, especially for a phone in this segment, so I'm really glad that we're getting that. And then, having the ability to offload photos and videos onto a microSD card is also a great feature too. So overall, this phone should really get the job done for you as far as storage goes. Now unfortunately, there is no wireless charging with the Galaxy A34 5G, but this phone does feature an in-display fingerprint sensor that does work really well. So we'll give that a try right now. There we go. Let's try that one more time. And there we go, so it's very accurate and responsive. Now in addition to that, this phone also features Face Unlock, so I do appreciate that we have multiple methods here for accessing the phone. Now with this device, we have a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 123 degrees, and we have a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. And just in case you're curious, a quick and easy way to access the camera app on the device is to simply double press on the power button, and it'll pull up the camera app. So there's me right there, but we're gonna flip around to the rear camera. And what's interesting here about the phone is that even though it has a 48 megapixel main camera, you actually don't take 48 megapixel photos by default. Instead, you need to go up here and select 48 megapixels under 3x4 to actually take photos in that full megapixel count. Now, overall, I wouldn't necessarily always take photos at 48 megapixels, and the reason for that is it'll take up a lot more space on your device, but in certain situations where it does make sense, I do recommend giving it a try. But if you just wanted to keep it at 48 megapixels all the time, you do have that ability, but you will notice that the phone will fill up very quickly as far as the storage goes. But then from here, we can head over to the ultra wide angle camera to fit a lot more content into a single frame here. So this is great, especially for traveling. That's mostly where I use the ultra wide camera. We can also then head over to the More tab, Where is it? There we go. We can access the macro camera. So you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. Certainly a nice feature as well. This phone does support 4K video recording with the front and rear cameras, which is a nice premium feature, so certainly impressive there. And then the phone does have portrait mode for the rear and front cameras as well. What's nice too with portrait mode is that there is a blur slider here, so if you want less blur, you can do that, or if you want more blur, you can adjust it that way. And then flipping around the front-facing camera, you can see there's me right there, but you can take portrait selfies to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. You can also adjust the blur on this too. And then if you want to, you can switch to a group selfie instead. So a lot of different options there when it comes to taking selfies and portrait mode and all of that. Now internally with the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G, we're getting 6 gigabytes of RAM paired up with the MediaTek Dimensity 1080 processor. Now 6 gigs of RAM for a phone in this segment is pretty good, and overall it gets the job done. The phone does run smoothly, so that's great. And then the processor has also been pretty impressive to me. Now there's a few benefits with the processor. The first one is the general performance, which I kind of already went over earlier, but if you're doing kind of the more basic tasks that you do with the smartphone, this phone is plenty powerful. So for phone calls, texting, going on social media, all those kind of more typical tasks, it's plenty powerful for that. It's really just for the more demanding tasks where you probably do want to go for something a bit more premium than this device. But then the other benefit of having this processor, and as the name of the phone does imply, we are getting support for 5G with this phone. Now at this point in 2023, you can certainly get by without 5G, but at the same time, if you're going to go through all the time and effort of buying a brand new smartphone, you may as well get one that does support your carrier's latest and greatest network. So I'm glad that we are getting that compatibility here. Now I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and here are the scores I got from that test. So I got a single core score of 1027 and a multi-core score of 2440. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how the Galaxy A34 5G compares to the phone that you currently have. Because this phone could be faster than what you have, or it could be slower. So you'll definitely want to kind of find that out. Now another awesome thing with this phone is that it does have a very large battery at 5,000 milliamp hours. So with that battery, you'll have no problem getting a full day, if not multiple days of usage. And then another awesome thing too is that this phone does support up to 25 watt fast charging. Now you will have to make sure you're using a 25 watt fast charger with the device itself, and that is not included, but since the battery is so large, it's nice that you can recharge it pretty rapidly. Now the software on the Galaxy A34 5G is Android 13, paired up with Samsung's One UI 5.1, and overall the software is great. Samsung's really good at giving their phone software with little to no bugs, so everything works really well here, and overall I'm really happy with the software. Now Samsung's skin definitely changes quite a bit from the standard Android, but overall I feel like Samsung does change things to add additional features, and it's really not gimmicky changes. And if you've used a Samsung phone anytime in the last 5 years, the overall experience should feel very familiar to you. So just know that when you get the Galaxy A34 5G, it's not like you have to learn a brand new device from scratch. And then with this phone, we are getting NFC, so if you want to use the phone for tap and pay using Samsung Pay or Google Pay, you can do that. It's also IP67 dust and water resistant, so you can take this phone underwater for up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. And then we're also getting stereo speakers here with the Galaxy A34 5G as well. So what I mean by stereo speakers is that if you're listening to music or watching a video, for example, you'll be getting audio coming out of both the main speaker and the bottom, and also the earpiece as well. So with that, you're gonna get louder, richer sound, and then also it's just gonna be a lot more immersive and better in general. Now taking a look at some camera samples from the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G, I'm very impressed. So as I mentioned earlier on in the video, the cameras are certainly a strong point for this phone. I like that we're getting so many different camera features, but in addition to that, the actual results from the cameras is really good too. So if you want to capture images to post on social media, or maybe just for your own memory, you'll have no disappointments at all when it comes to the cameras. Now, of course, compared to a much more expensive device like an S23 Ultra, that phone will have way better cameras, but for what this phone is, I feel like things are plenty good here. And I'll definitely let you be the judge yourself as you're literally seeing the photos right in front of you. But let's now take a look at some video samples from the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 4K front-facing test video from the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. Definitely curious to know what you think about the video and audio quality. Here is a 1080p test video using the main rear camera on the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. Definitely let me know what you think of the quality here. And also what's cool is in 1080p, you can switch over to camera. So there we go. Now there is a 4K video mode here on the device, but when you do take videos in 4K, you can only do it with the main camera. So again, this is with the ultra wide camera right now. And then back to the main camera. So here we go. We have very fast and accurate autofocus in video mode. So that's very impressive. And it's a really nice day outside. Really blue skies. And here's a 4K test video from the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. (2021), which is the predecessor to this phone, and we also got the Moto G Stylus 5G. And then, the year before that, we got the Moto G Stylus 20. So I am very impressed with the video viewing experience here on the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. It's really great in multiple ways. First thing is, the display is excellent, as I mentioned multiple times in this video, but the speakers are so loud. I mean, seriously, you're getting some loud speakers with this device. Probably some of the best speakers I've used on a smartphone anytime recently. So, really good speakers, really great display quality. Overall, I'm a big fan of it. I also like that you can crop in and get a very immersive video viewing experience here on the phone itself. But let's now take a closer look at the actual hardware of the Galaxy A34 5G. Now, I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, so we are getting that 6.6-inch display, we're getting the notch up top here, but overall a pretty nice design. Now, the phone is made completely of plastic, besides the display, which is glass, so we're getting a plastic band on the side, and then we're also getting plastic on the back. Now, I actually like this material on the back quite a bit. It has kind of this cool wavy look to it, and then also I like that it's a frosted finish, so it doesn't really pick up too many fingerprints, so that's great. The only downside with it is I can definitely see the entire phone getting pretty scratched up as time goes on, so I definitely recommend pairing it up with some sort of case. But taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have nothing. Then on the right side, we have volume up and volume down, also the power button. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone, and then the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the bottom of the phone, we have the microphones, we have the USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the main speaker. Then on the back of the phone, we have the camera module, flash, and Samsung logo. So overall, I'm really happy with the general design of this phone. It feels really good in the hand. It feels of high quality, despite it being made of plastic. And I think Samsung really is giving us a great high quality device here. But in conclusion, I'm really happy about the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. I feel like this is a very competitive device from Samsung, and I definitely don't doubt that this phone will sell really well. It's definitely going to be a huge success. But most importantly, I'm really curious to know what you think about the Galaxy A34 5G. Do you plan on getting this phone, or do you own it already? And if so, what do you think of it? Definitely let me know. But this is Kevin here. This is the Galaxy A34 5G, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.